What do you remember about how fear was involved initially?
Yeah. So I think my very first study, fear wasn't. I think I was just so open-minded and I had just been wanting to know God that like just the study of Elohim, that's not really necessarily a fear-mongering one. And I was just so into it. Uh, but a little later, who knows, maybe even one or two studies later, it was the seal of God, where you have to have the Passover to protect you from World War III. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
I gotta, like
Yeah.
it's freaking out. Like I'm so glad I got the Passover. I gotta save everybody. Uh, so that was like a big deal. And I started like bringing everybody like I loved, like multiple friends at the time, my sister-in-law. And I seen people after I studied the seal of God with them, they like threw away their degrees. Like it's rubbish. We got to go to heaven. We're going to heaven. So everybody like, what does school matter? And this
Mm-hmm.
degree I just went the past 3 years for. So, but I don't know, Kelsey, that this is like unique to the Midwest, but during 2014, 2015, 16, 17, especially 2015 was the year of Jubilee. And that was like the year that all the slaves are going to be sent home, the 50th year, which was the 50th anniversary of the church, right? Yeah, the 50th.
Right.
And so we were supposed to be going home.
That should have been, I think, 2014 because the church started in 64. So, yeah.
Yes, it was like that, like 2014, 2015, like
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Because always at the end, like they did this with the 10 talent movement too, where it gets to the end of the like December and they're like, wait a minute, we got to look at the spiritual calendar.
Yeah.
Passover is the 14th day of the first month, so you have mother allows you a little bit more time to get action moving, and then it just slowly tapers off and you forget it even happened.
Exactly. Or so 2015, that time period, like we really thought we were going to heaven. Like people were selling their homes. There was a sister who had a home. It was her home that it was hers. She owned it. Well, she went off to a mission in another state, Omaha. And like 10 of us lived in her house. You know how you do like the shared home situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, like 10 of us lived in one house. And we were all like working like day in and day out. Most of us didn't even have a job at that time, just ready to go to heaven in 2015 because, that's World War III's coming. There's no greater like fear than that, like to get exactly right and fulfill the mission. Or at that time we were so, lost in the sauce. We were excited like heaven's coming. But, bring in everybody we love, hurry because it's about to be it. And there are leaders who made it very apparent that like, this is it. They say they don't. They say like, oh, that was a mistake from a specific leader. But I remember telling my family, like my son won't be a year old. He won't see his first birthday, which was really crazy. But I was that, like I believed. And then there was
So can I ask a question about about that time? Because I mean, to your point, right? It's not just a specific leader. It's like it was something that was taught all throughout all the branch churches in the world about the year of Jubilee. I mean, in Portland, it wasn't emphasized. I mean, we were taught year of Jubilee. We were taught that that's the year that the slaves will be free. Like we were taught those things, but they didn't emphasize as hard, I guess, in my location about that being the very end. I mean, because every year was the very end for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
Every year it was this is probably the last Passover kind of thing. And, but like, did they have you, because you said some people were selling their houses, which I think is just so funny because if the world's ending, you sell your house for what? Like, what's the point? So you can get a bunch of money, but the world's ending. Who cares? Right? And I can only imagine where did that money go after it was sold? I mean, I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah.
And so, but did they have you prepare in any other way for the end of the world? Like, army packs and food?
No, I hear a lot about that from other members, especially 2012, and are like,
Because they did in my locations. They had us physically prepare.
no, they literally just, our emphasis was prepare spiritually. You don't need anything else. You don't need packs and this and that. Like, just prepare spiritually by literally giving your all to the gospel. And then when Father comes, you'll be full of oil and ready to meet the bridegroom and not the one who fell asleep, the lazy, servant.
Yeah.
And so it was like huge. I mean, in this location, Daniel Park was going in. I mean, we would have like educations every weekend where we'd travel to Denver, and we'd have huge seminars at places like Estes Park where 100 or more members would go and spend a weekend there and rent these places where we do, who knows, 15-hour educations on this kind of stuff.
Which in the lawsuits they claim that they don't have studies more than like, I don't know if it was like 30 minutes or 2 hours or something like that. 15-hour educations.
We were all.
These
Oh my gosh. Okay, have you ever seen, Sunny in Philadelphia, that guy who's like with the
whiteboard?
With the whiteboard, and he's like freaking out. That was like literally how it was. Like, it was like mathematical equations of like dates and like the like the prophecies of like the completion of the temple and the 1200. I can't even remember them all now. 200,
it was
2300 day prophecy.
Yeah.
And just so many prophecies and like all these things that you're like up till 2 a.m. and you're like, oh my gosh. And like, we're all like overdosing on caffeine pills and bangs. It was crazy. And
yeah.
Oh, we were
and
all
it probably seems so
drinks.
profound at that time too. It probably seems so profound.
It was.
And now you look back and you see, like you said, the Sunny in Philadelphia kind of thing, where it's like, okay, those people were actually just crazy.
Yeah, and I was a part of that. So no, but
well, and a lot of those bigger ones, like I don't know specifically the 2300 days, but like a lot of the bigger ones, especially when it comes to like Day of Atonement, 7 churches, like that comes from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. That's not something that the WMS made up entirely on their own, or Ahnsahnghong. Like, that came from the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And then what church was Ahnsahnghong a part of before he started his own? Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Yeah.
So, it's,
we don't know that. We think this is all special knowledge. And, and then it was just so much. Like, Mother was being crucified that year because she was in between 2 pickets of false Christ. Kind of like Jesus was in between the 2 criminals.
Oh my gosh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, like they showed us pictures of like 2 false Korean Christs being picketed and her in the middle and her suffering because she's being called a false Christ when Jesus too was in between 2 actual criminals.
Oh,
and
geez.
and it started getting really intense because not only are you like at this point in my life of faith, I was so separate from like the world. I was so cut off. Like I was completely deluged in only this. And I don't know. You're scared of the world and the like World War III is coming, and you're doing everything you can to prepare spiritually. But then even inside Zion, like unfortunately it's like, oh, everyone out there is screwed, but we're okay. But even in the Midwest, it was like even in Zion you weren't okay because he started coming up with these prophecies that like you were either in the church Isaac, a child of promise, or Ishmael, a child of the flesh, even in Zion.
Yeah, they would say that they would also use the example of 2 women at the mill or something.
Yep.
One is left, one is left, one is taken.
The sheep and the goats.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just so miserable because it's like you have this underlying like level of dread and fear that you're kind of constantly living in just when you consider the outside world and you're seeing people on the outside maybe just aware of friends or family who aren't in this in group, but then it's like they add on top of that But also you might not be, even though you're doing all these things and you're giving all this time, you could be self-deceived, and you could be caught by Ahnsahnghong when he comes asleep, and you just weren't doing enough, and it's just this miserable existence that you don't recognize it at the time, but it's just this such unnecessary amount of fear and dread that you just have to live with all the time, and it motivates and drives everything you do in such unhealthy ways.
Your whole reality is like not reality.